Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about going for long rides on a naked bike. So last time we went for this 4-hour ride. We took the R3 and we talked about that. The video link is in the description. But I want to talk about taking a naked bike for a long ride. So here we've got an MT-07. We got more power, about double or so that of an R3. And we have no fairings, right? So we got a naked bike, no fairings. All we have is this aftermarket windshield. So this is going to be a little bit different versus a stock naked bike, maybe a stock naked bike. The windshield will only come down to here. So we have like another couple extra inches of windshield. But I want to talk about, are naked bikes good for long trips? So our trip today consists of this road for a little while, which is there are a couple traffic lights along it. It's like a 60-ish mile/hour road. A lot of people are doing 60 to 70 on it. And then we get out onto some open interstates where it's 70 miles per hour for about an hour and a half. Everyone's doing, 75 to 80. So the first thing, the most obvious question with a naked bike is it too much wind for these long trips? And I'm gonna say not necessarily. Doesn't have to be that bad. So here I've got a little bit aftermarket of a windshield. I can feel the wind coming off right here, and it's hitting me just at the very bottom of my collarbone. So it takes some of the wind off of my chest, right? And with a lot of naked bikes, it's actually like maybe more like mid chest line. But with a lot of naked bikes, that's the way it's going to be. You won't have too much wind on the very bottom part, like in your stomach probably, but you're going to have a lot of wind everywhere else. So for trips like this, what I like to do is wear just a little bit more gear. So I've got a jacket on as opposed to just one of the body armor vests and things like that to protect me for a little more, like pants that have some Kevlar in them. It's going to be a lot of wind. Right now we're starting off, it's just below 70 degrees, so it's a little bit cold this morning, but it's going to get hot. So I want something that's kind of adjustable for the heat that we're probably going to get as it gets up to like 90 or so. How do they do with storage, right? So you're going on a long trip, maybe you're used to taking something like a Harley that has the saddlebags, or another kind of cruiser, maybe an adventure bike where you're used to having them. Well, so with naked bikes, you can put a tank bag on. I haven't because I'm not taking that much stuff with me, but you can always do a tank bag. And I think even on some of these MPs you can do, or the FZs you can do magnetic tank bags, which is kind of nice. This one actually has brackets on the rear, which I'll show you. So I can mount side luggage. So you can get those same kind of accessories for a naked bike that you can for other bikes. So if you're trying to pack a decent amount, it shouldn't be an issue. And then I've just got a backpack on. That's the way I prefer, is either just a saddlebag or just a backpack. Keep it simple if I'm not taking too much stuff. This is just a day trip, so I don't need saddlebags loaded up. But if you need stuff for a long trip, you can definitely pack quite a bit onto even a naked bike. But these things can be very good on gas. The problem with naked sport bikes, like especially this FZ, is you just don't have that big of a gas tank. So your range is going to be significantly less. If you compare it versus like a Tenere 700 or a Tracer 9 or something like that that's built for going longer distances and kind of marketed that way, then you're going to find you'll be stopping for gas a lot more often. So that is definitely one consideration with should you tour on a naked bike. But I have to say, this bike, since I have the rear saddlebags, and then this has the stock exhaust on it, so it's really nice and quiet still, which is kind of nice for a long trip sometimes when you don't want to just, go deaf from your own exhaust noise. So right now it's just a great all-around machine where it's like you can have big saddlebags on, take it for a long trip. You got this little windshield that does something. I'm not sure. I'm sure you could probably find something that's a little bit bigger than that windshield. Maybe one of those clip-on additional ones to help if it really bothers you. But for me, it's really not a big deal. The next thing is body positioning. So on that R3, you're hunched over, right? You're a lot more down like this. Your hands are further down. I'll say the FC, you're still going to be pulled forward a bit. I mean, you can lean back, but it's not very comfortable. Your arms kind of like hold really hard. So you can change this obviously very easily with changing your handlebar setup. But a lot of naked sport bikes are still going to have a little bit aggressive of a riding position, not a totally relaxed riding position like an adventure bike will have. So if you want to sit straight up like this, then you're probably going to want something more like an adventure bike or a sport touring bike. The seat on the FC, I think, is plenty comfortable, but you're still going to not have that comfortable of a seat compared to, you know, a Kawasaki Contour, the Goldwing, things like that. So all around, really, really great platform. But anyway, I'm going to shut up and we'll just do a little time lapse now. Oh, so we just got gas. 2.344 gallons, 121.5. So we ended up right at about 51.5, 52 MPG. So, some thoughts from riding for, you know, about 2 hours over 120 miles, 70 to 80 miles an hour. The leg positioning is not amazing. As you can see, I have quite a bend in my legs still like sport bike, so you definitely gotta like stretch it out quite a bit. It's tons and tons of wind, so if you don't like having tons of wind in your face, and you know, I got lucky that this isn't a super windy day, but if it was a super windy day, it would be very rough, and you would definitely be wishing you had a lighter helmet and noticing all the weight and all the like lack of aerodynamics to your helmet if you don't have one. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to mention. I am 6'1", and this is the bend I have in my leg, so you know, that's pretty typical of naked bikes. So anyway, I'm curious for your thoughts. Do you ride naked bikes on long trips? What do you think? In my opinion, it's great because you could take this bike to the racetrack. Probably you'd want to do maybe a little bit of the suspension or put better tires on or something, but you could totally take this to the racetrack as is if you wanted. And oh gosh, look at this. Now I'm in there we go. I was like, what is it? I was in kilometers per hour. Man, I accidentally changed the units, screwed it all up. I think if I could only have one bike, it would be probably this bike or something very similar to it, a Z900, an MT-10, MT-09, FC, maybe even the Kawasaki 650 line, although, you know, I don't have anything against the 180-degree crank. I just think it's not quite as interesting as some of the others. I mean, you can go to the racetrack on this. You could, You can go for long trips. You can use it around town. It doesn't get too hot. There's just so many good uses. So much variety to this bike, whereas with a bigger touring bike, it's going to be really heavy. You probably won't want to use it around city traffic, stop and go. You know, some of these sport bikes that are a lot better for the racetrack, you probably don't want to spend a really long time on, because the suspension is just so brutal. And you know, as I went over like bridges and wavy parts, and there's one section of the highway where it was just like wavy, and it was kind of annoying, even on this bike, which has, you know, fairly soft suspension. But you can only imagine how annoying it would be if it was on, you know, a bike with sport, like super sport kind of suspension, like ready to go to the racetrack. So really great bike all around. It doesn't do anything amazingly well, except maybe this bike's super well known for stumping, so maybe that's the thing. It would be known for doing super well. But all around, just super good bike. I really like naked bikes as touring bikes. I personally don't want the giant, really heavy bike. I forget what this one weighs, but you know, you compare it to a Goldwing, a Kawasaki Concourse, things like that, and it's like, I mean, if you want a sport tour, you know, you'll be thrown around by the wind a little bit more. You'll have some other things to deal with, but you'll enjoy your city part of the trip so much more. All right, we're just wrapping up our trip here, just getting back. I didn't film much of getting back because I was trying to go kind of quick, make it before it got too dark. So we just got the last little bit of sunlight. But on the return trip, 2.17 gallons, 115.1 miles. So I'll put up whatever the average is here. And yeah, I mean, that was, I think it was $13 to go, you know, over 200 miles round trip. Pretty good. Met another biker. So here at the gas station, friendly guy. And you might notice that I lost my windshield on the way. So on the way, my windshield came off. So I saw it just sitting there wobbling all of a sudden really bad, and I noticed that it had, the front two brackets had come off, and it was just hanging on by the back bracket, and I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. That's not good. So lots of suicidal bugs. So yeah, that's if in case of at the beginning of this video you were thinking, oh, this isn't a real naked bike, he's got too big of a windshield, whatever. Well, I did the whole entire drive back, because as soon as I started going on the way back, I, you know, got that giant windshield wobble, and maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was like, I think it was the rubber grommets on it. It started wearing out, and then it just flew up, and it was about to let go, and, you know, it wasn't going to be good. So anyway, I will say a true naked bike without any fairings is a ton of wind. It's a ton of wind. And especially if you're doing like 80 or anything more than that, like even in the 70 mile per hour range, it's still a lot of wind. And so you're definitely going to want to consider that and think twice, maybe reconsider your gear and the wind production your gear can offer you. And I would actually recommend getting some comfortable hand grips, because when you're kind of holding on so much, because you got you know, you just got such bad like wind, like, you know, pulling on your body like a sail, then definitely would suggest getting that done. So anyway, I'm getting pelted with bugs. I'm sure you guys have probably gotten pelted with bugs. I'm going to turn this off. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you later.